Clips.
And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Alrighty, boop tubes. Another one of clips. So I'm going to talk about a piece I seen on the BBC about how conspiracy theories are affecting the American election, and I thought it would be damn funny to have a look at it. Now, before I do this, I just want to pretext this thing. I don't give a flying fuck about the US general election. I really don't. I just watch it for the shits and the giggles because it's funny as fuck. If it's not Mr. Magoo, aka Biden, it's fucking Orange Man Bad Donald Trump, and both are equally as hilarious for different reasons, you know. So I thought I would watch this piece and share it with you because I know a lot of people can't watch the BBC. You know, there's nothing to be scared of if you understand what it is. That's my kind of opinion. So, anyways, on with the shit show. Now, here's my I've not watched this yet, by the way. Here's my prediction. It's going to basically say that conspiracy theories have mobilised and radicalised and made the far right extreme, and thus painting Donald Trump. They'll make it out to be Donald Trump's fault. This is the narrative that's getting spun prior to all these, what is it called, midterm elections that's happening just now. And to the run-up to 2024, because I think right now what's happening is they're fighting for control of the House or the Senate or both. Something like that. As I said, I don't give a flying fuck anymore about American politics. It was one of the epiphanies I had along my journey when I knew more about American politics than the UK politics or even European politics. And I begged myself the question, why? Because of the content I was constantly consuming through the powers of boob tubes. So, on with the shit show. So, prediction, it's going to paint just the right, only the right, as extremists and being mobilised by conspiracy theories and stuff. And to a certain extent, I agree with them, not because I agree with the BBC or I've been programmed with the BBC, because along my journey I have seen how conspiracy theories have led people to Nigel Farage, UKIP, fucking 5G's in your head, it's a direct energy weapon shit and all that. These are all politically motivated, in my humble opinion. The 5G thing was a campaign by the Five Eyes because they wanted the Chiners kicked out of Western infrastructure. But what did the UK do? We welcomed them in, got all their hardware, because they were leaps and bounds technology-wise ahead of the West when it came to 5G infrastructure. They had it sitting there, mass-produced, ready to roll out all over the world. Do you think the West was stupid enough to fall for that? What we done is we said, come on in, Mr. Chinaman. And we took all their shit. And you best believe that we back engineered it, or just plain up stole it and fucking turned it into our shit. And that was the Five Eyes. And go and stick that into your Google's Five Eyes and 5G, and you'll see them getting involved with Huawei, which is the Chiners. Anywho, enough.
Now, it's the midterm elections in the US next week, and there's an awful lot at stake, not least how much Joe Biden may be able to get done in the next 2 years. But there's more to these midterms too, because they're helping us understand America's relationship with the truth.
This is our country.
Elections are always about policies and personalities, but on Wednesday this week, Joe Biden made it about more than that.
let's see if we can see the hypocrisies of both sides here, man. You know, it's giant douche versus a turd sandwich, man. South Park nailed it. It's just so, like, who do you choose? And both sides are equally radicalised. I was watching Nigel Farage UKIP TV. Sorry, I mean Great Britain News. I was watching the telly. Shh, don't tell anybody. And they had a member of Just Stop Oil, the people that were pouring soup over paintings and all that shit. These people are tuned to the moon. These are left-leaning people, and they have been radicalised by conspiracy theories, you could call it that, or just straight up fucking fear-mongering. All these people probably watched Captain Planet when they were young. Say that jokingly, but I'm being pretty serious. Anywho.
This is a path to chaos in America.
And the president connected that warning directly to this.
The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being destroyed.
Donald Trump's been saying this since election night. It wasn't true then, it's not true now.
Oh, brilliant. You got to love the BBC's impartiality. So they're now judge, jury and executioner. Now remember, this isn't news, this is some sort of a like mad weird fucking segment they've done. God knows if it's on the BBC channel as well. But think of the arrogance of the BBC to write a wee report just to bounce up there and go, right, it wasn't true then, it's not true now. Now, how does he know that? Right, you could argue there's no evidence. But if the little I've heard about what's happening in America, Donald Trump supporters are going round to voting drop places, fucking in camo and all of that, looking at people doing the voting drops. But that's their constitutional right, and that's because they believe that people were stuffing ballots. Now, see the American system, the more you learn about it, you know, the more it's just open to abuse. Absolute, complete abuse. What's the college? Oh, I used to know all this crap. Just the way they actually count the votes and whatnot, how the votes can get delivered. As I said, there's some sort of a system where you can do a voting drop, and the voting drop, it's meant to be the person that's actually voting that does it. And apparently, rumours would have it that wasn't happening. So technically, Donald, if that was happening, by the left, because they're terrified of Donald Trump because he's been demonised by certain camps of the media, then if you look at Just Stop Oil, how crazy these left loon balls are and what they're willing to do, the lengths they're willing to do, that Just Stop Oil proves that the radical left is willing to break the law to push their shit. Fact. So Donald Trump bouncing up and saying that, it's not a great leap to think there might be something to it. Maybe his side were doing it as well. Who knows? But the American system, the way it's set up just now, is just open to abuse. And I guarantee it's rampant with abuse from all angles, because there's high stakes. You know, this is like, this isn't just a normal election in America. This will be like, well, they'll polarise the citizens, right? That's how the politics operates. But what is actually happening is it's like kind of mob bosses fighting for control, you know? And Hillary, for whatever reason, can't take out Trump. So let's see.
This claim has become a test of Republicans' commitment to facts, to evidence, to reality. Next week's midterms include...
Well, the fact is there's no evidence to support Trump's claim, but the fact also remains that the system is open to abuse, so it's not a great leap. And I don't know, Donald Trump's in a better position to call that than me. Maybe he's just using it as an electioneering tool. It's another possibility. Maybe he doesn't even believe it himself, but he's using it to mobilise his base. This is what politics is. Cloak and dagger. all forms of bullcrap, so on and so forth.
Include elections for both houses of Congress and some state governors. And we've worked with the BBC's disinformation unit to look at Republican candidates in these elections.
Oh my god, the BBC's just came out, balls on the table. Hi, we've got a disinformation unit. Boom shakalaka. That's funny as fuck. Depends how you interpret it, you know. I know I'm splitting hairs and playing with words here. I'm well aware of that. I don't want people to take this too serious. And you know what? What is the BBC at a time in the UK when we might have a general election not too short a time, maybe before Donald Trump in Biden's election, and they're doing a piece about the American election. Right? What does that tell you? It's bigger than America. This left-right shit that's happening, the two mob bosses, the two power structures that are facing off, you can clearly see the camps. Well, sorry, you can't clearly see the camps, that's absolute bullcrap. What I mean is you can see there is camps, and you can see where some of the players are playing. You know, my enemy's enemy is my friend and all that jazz.
We found that 35% of the candidates have publicly and fully denied the 2020 election result.
Oh wow, right. So let's analyse that. 35% of elected people in the Republican Party. So they all must just be low IQ motherfuckers who wouldn't be able to see a rigged election if it was in front of their face. They all just must be window lickers idiots. That's what it must be. That's what the BBC need you to believe. 35% of... Imagine 35% of the Conservative Party thought X, Y or Z. What are you going to do? Turn around and say, like, all the elected officials are stupid? They don't know facts? But the BBC opinion piece, this isn't news. This is some sort of a package to frame your mind in and around the American election. British citizens.
Of those, 3/4 are projected to win. And overall, 53% of these candidates have questioned the election result, and these candidates are in sync with many Republican voters.
Oh my god, America must just be a wave of absolute idiots who can't see facts or they're willing to question stuff because there's reason to question it. Oh my god, man, that's what the BBC's needing you to believe.
One poll this year found that only 32% of Republican voters think the 2020 election was free and fair. Certainly, we can see this in how some Republicans are positioning themselves. One example is Carrie Lake, who's running for governor in Arizona.
If you're watching this ad right now, it means you're in the middle of watching a fake news program. You know how to know it's fake? Because they won't even cover the biggest story out there, the rigged election of 2020.
Of course, the media did cover the election. There's just no evidence it was rigged. And the
Was she not shown a video there or something in her campaign thing that showed maybe some stupid activity happening on this occasion by the left? Or the Democrats? Democunts.
BBC's Catty Kay asked Carrie Lake about this.
Do you really believe the 2020 election was stolen?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not the only one who believes it.
She isn't the only one. And Donald Trump believes this is what his supporters want to hear. Blake Masters is also running in Arizona.
Strong possibility. They're using it as an electioneering tool.
Documentary, we see
but that's politics.
Talking with Donald Trump.
If they say, "How is your family?" She says the election was rigged and stolen. You'll lose if you go soft. You're going to lose that at the base.
You'll lose it if you go soft, Mr. Trump says. And next week's
oh my god, he's a devil incarnate. I don't know. That makes sense to me. I understand what Donald Trump meant there. He's giving somebody who's running under his name advice. And Donald Trump is running 110%. If you know, just a couple of comments I've heard him say, and he's definitely running.
Already this week, another story is testing Republicans' relationship with the truth.
A brazen and violent assault. Paul Pelosi the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, brutalized.
Seriously injured after a horrifying attack with a hammer inside the couple's home.
The suspect trying to tie him up, quote, until Nancy got home.
The attack was last Friday morning, and senior Republicans condemned it.
Well, let me be perfectly clear. Violence or threat of violence has no place in our society. And what happened to Paul Pelosi is wrong.
Soon, we were learning about the attacker too. The LA Times reported that he spread QAnon and other far-right bigoted conspiracies on his...
So there's a news channel reporting on a story from a newspaper. No facts. But it's got the illusion of being real because he's no questioning what the Los Angeles Times is saying. They're no looking into the story, dissecting it, see if there's any meat on the bone.
His blog. But Donald Trump's daughter-in-law was clear on one thing.
Anyone trying to connect this guy in any way to a political party, to any other person, you can't do that.
Plenty,
There's
though,
one theory
made
he was
just
a
that
male
connection,
hooker.
like this conservative lawyer.
They're trying to pretend that this has nothing to do with the conspiracy theories that have been advanced among their voters.
President Biden made the link even more explicitly.
You can't condemn the violence unless you condemn those people who continue to argue the election was not real, that it's being stolen.
And as the impact of Republican misinformation was debated, a new conspiracy theory was emerging. CNN described it as
the deranged smear that Paul Pelosi and the attacker, the man who hit him in the head with a hammer, were in a sexual relationship.
Well, they both were in their underpants when the FBI or the cops did turn up, man. Right, so the theory goes that he was a male hooker, he wasn't getting paid or some shit, and shit went sour. Because, I don't know if you've also heard the reports, it was that Pelosi dude that had a hammer in his fucking horn as well. Both of them had hammers. And, here's a crazy thing. Guy's Canadian. So was he a Canadian hooker that went down to that neck of the wood and he was a high-end male hooker? He didn't get paid or some shit happened and they both started arguing. Right, so they're both in their underpants when the cops turn up. Both had a hammer in their hands. And the guy apparently just walked into one of the most secure houses in that neighbourhood. And it's in a very rich neighbourhood with very rich people with very high-end security systems.
No evidence.
Nobody's playing the 911 call either.
To back this up. But that didn't stop Congressman Clay Higgins sharing a post suggesting the attacker was a male nudist hippie prostitute. He then deleted it. It didn't stop Donald Trump saying this to a conservative podcaster.
The glass, it seems, was broken from the inside to the out. And, you know, it wasn't a break-in, it was a breakout.
Police.
Let's not think about that, or them being in their pants, both having hammers. Don't think about that. Or how he got into the house in the first place. Without triggering all sorts of fucking alarms.
Say they have CCTV of someone breaking in. Once more, Mr. Trump was confronted with facts and evidence.
Hold on, what did he say?
Again, it was a breakout.
Police say they have CCTV of someone breaking in.
Police say? Shows it. You know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility of the cops getting promised a wee promotion and doing what they're told, basically. You know, we've all seen well, maybe not all seen but a lot of people have watched The West Wing. We know how this shit happens. How they manage the crisis and all that jazz.
Once more, Mr. Trump was confronted with facts and evidence. And as he and other Republicans detached themselves from both, former President Barack Obama
Facts and evidence. So the facts and evidence that he's presenting that Donald Trump is ignoring was a report in the LA Times and somebody saying, the police saying they have CCTV of somebody breaking in. That's it. Apart from that, Donald he's ignoring the fact that there was glass on the outside. Ignoring the fact that we're both in their underpants and both had hammers. And as this guy kidnapped this dude, he let him go to the toilet unsupervised so he could phone the police. And just by happenstance, he was charging his phone in the bathroom. Who charges their fucking phone in a toilet? In all seriousness, who does that? Who does that? Does anybody charge their phone in the toilet? Maybe it's an American thing. Maybe they like to shit and charge at the same time. Oh, and they're rolling out Obama because they're fucking threatening.
Frames the midterms.
Biden's not getting any gravitas.
Democracy itself is also on the ballot.
Right, so they're talking about the right, like, being all violent and unaccepting and all that stuff. Listen to this rhetoric. If this isn't making the left angry and extreme, I don't know what will. Their Messiah Obama is literally telling them democracy is under threat. What if democracy is under threat by letting Donald Trump participate in a vote? And what he's doing here, whether you can hear it or not, is demonising the right, literally demonising them and demonising Donald Trump as if like he's going to come and kill you. You forget he's already been in power. Did democracy end when he was in power? No, he got kicked out. And how did he get kicked out? By a democratic vote, apparently. Or a stolen election, depending how you look at it.
One senior Republican says the Democrats are simply trying to divide and deflect. Another Republican makes this point.
Wacky ideas have been around as long as there's been more than one person introducing the topic in a political conversation.
That is a true statement. But the claim about the election in 2020 being stolen is false. Now, voters make their choices for a range of reasons. The economy, crime, immigration. But these midterms are in part...
I'm so glad this BBC reporter sitting in the UK know better than Americans that are actually involved in the whole process. Politicians in America. I'm glad he knows better. And again, when you hear the right getting asked, they're like, yeah, I think so. They're not telling you it's absolute fact. They're saying they've got questions they would like answered. But coming from the BBC, there is no questioning this. Zeke Howe, you shall not question this. This is how you will think. Look into my eyes, not around my eyes, into my eyes. Back in the room.
A test of where facts fit in to Americans' list of priorities.
What a pile of shite. Anywho, I thought it would be quite funny to listen to that, man, and the hypocrisies and like, I have an opinion, and I know why I think the BBC sitting in London is doing a piece about Donald Trump, because it fits into this whole global left-right struggle which is happening everywhere. I mean, you only need to touch base with Brazil's politics, exact same carbon copy thing. French politics with Le Pen, is it, I think? And Brazil's the Saros or some crap I can't quite remember. And if you go and have a wee look around Eastern Europe and Hungary and stuff like that, the same sort of it's the exact same pattern. Your enemy's enemy is your friend, right? So if the world is going to shit, there's going to be a lot of very intelligent people, but with extreme views from all spectrums of the political retardness, willing to capitalise on this, you know. And I said in a few videos back, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like the far right putting the brown people on boats themselves. Because who's benefiting from this politically? Certainly isn't the Labour Party. It certainly isn't the Liberal Democrats. Certainly isn't the SNP. It's the right. And even the Conservatives are such a shit show right now. So I think the speculation of there being a splinter party, I think it's happened in British politics numerous times before, where parties have split, came together, so on and so forth. Go and check it out. It's quite interesting. And a lot of people are theorising that it could happen to the Conservatives shortly, and I think that's a good shout, because the political system here in the UK is shot, and nobody's happy. Nobody's happy, and what's fueling this is the invasion, if you can say that, of the brown people on boats. Anywho, thanks for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure you stick a wee thumbs up. It is much appreciated. And if you watch it after the fact, leave a wee comment. Alright, Roberto Carlos, how you keeping, my man? Hope you had a nice weekend, buddy. Right, I'm going to do the off while there's a break in the rain and make the most of it. So have a good Sunday, everybody. Nice and chilled. Catchies!
Clips, clips.
And remember, citizens, always subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well. And $19.95 plus shipping and handling will keep you out of hell. Hit the notification.